There is a reason Brazil is often called the lungs of the planet, but what is it? What does it mean to be the lungs of the earth? Is this title exclusive to Brazil, or does it apply to other countries as well? Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel so that we can continue to create more content about the beauty of Latin America. Despite what you might think, this title is representative and not literal. Brazil is home to the largest part of the Amazon rainforest, which is shared by 8 other countries: Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Suriname, Guyana, and French Guiana. As a result, Brazil owns 60% of the territory. As for the rest, Peru owns about 13%, Colombia owns 10%, with the rest owning very little. Because of the Amazon rainforest, the world is able to breathe a little easier since it releases a great deal of oxygen into the air. Interestingly, the human lungs work in the opposite direction. In the same way that we breathe oxygen and release carbon, plants breathe carbon and release oxygen, keeping the balance in the ecosystem. Amazon rainforests absorb 25% of atmospheric carbon dioxide and produce 6% of Earth's oxygen. There would be a great deal of suffering in the world without it. Global warming is adversely affecting the Amazon rainforest, also known as the world's green lung. A study led by Professor Peter Cox estimates that each degree Celsius of warming in the tropics will result in the release of about 50 billion tons of carbon. Although this sounds frightening, according to the professor, carbon dioxide fertilization counteracts the negative effects of carbon dioxide release. As a result, as carbon is emitted from the forest, a greater amount is available to plants for respiration and growth. Nonetheless, if plants cannot utilize it for fertilizer, we will all suffer. Besides the effects of global warming and climate change on the forest, it depends on how long it will survive extensive deforestation. Scientists are optimistic, and we should be as well. As long as we protect the forest, it will continue to protect us. Brazil is known for its environmental importance. Even without the Amazon, Brazil is one of the biggest countries in the world, with a variety of biomes that affect other nations. However, how good is the Brazilian government at protecting the environment? In January, Lula da Silva became Brazil's 3rd president after 4 years under Jair Bolsonaro's government. While Lula is known for protecting fauna and flora, Bolsonaro's government increased the Amazon's deforestation by 52.9% compared with the previous 3 administrations. It would be bad enough if the damage was limited to Amazon, but the situation is worse than that. All other biomes have also been affected, including the marine reserves of Brazil. In this failure to protect the nation's biggest pride, there are hundreds of reasons, but one of the biggest is Ricardo Salles' politics of prioritizing money over protection. It was Bolsonaro's intention to extinguish the Ministerio do Meio Ambiente, Ministry of the Environment, but he retracted his decision. Nevertheless, Ricardo Salles was chosen for the job, and that was a bad move for the environment. In addition to being a friend to the prospectors, Salles was also a friend to the wood industry, civil construction, and the mining industry. Aside from allowing the destruction of nature, he also allowed the invasion, raid, and destruction of indigenous areas. In Brazil, the Yanomami are an ancient and respected native people. As a way of respecting their existence for thousands of years, Brazil gave them their own territories in the 1900s. Their land is protected by the government, which keeps humans away from their territory. 3 decades ago, 12 Yanomami indigenous people living in the Haxima village on the border between Venezuela and Brazil were murdered by prospectors. It was known as the Yanomami genocide. We are now facing a new genocide, by the hands of prospectors once more. There were thousands of loggers, miners, and ranchers who invaded the Yanomami territory and explored its resources. As a result of mining, logging, and ranching, several habitats are destroyed, the ecosystem is altered, and several other problems may arise. These people also explored the Yanomami, as if destroying the forest wasn't enough. Slavery and sexual abuse were committed against them, especially against the children. Not only were they destroying the food available to the Yanomami, but they were also stealing it. As a result of Bolsonaro's policy of encouraging illegal prospectors, the Yanomami were forced to suffer starvation and abuse for over 4 years. Before Lula's government officially began, it already started acting on behalf of Yanomami's people. The government has been fighting to free the land from these prospectors since November 2022. While doing so, it brought much-needed food and medicine to the Yanomami and strengthened their political protection. It is excellent news that Sonia Guajajara, from the Guajajara/Tendahar people, is now the first minister in the new Ministry of Indigenous People. She is known for her fierce protection of the Amazon rainforest and the indigenous people of Brazil. Other people in Lula's government have the same goal of preserving the environment. Marina Silva is now the Minister of the Environment. Those familiar with environmental protectors may recognize Marina, as she has been protecting the Amazon for decades. As of right now, she is also keeping an eye on the illegal activities that are taking place in Brazil's forest. In spite of the previous year's rough and difficult circumstances, Brazil's forests and environment are likely to prosper in the future. To learn more about Brazil, click the video on the left and subscribe to our channel to help us become a leading channel on everything about Latin America.